In this lecture, we are going to focus on shear and moment envelopes. What are they? Why are they useful? And how do we construct them? Suppose we have a bus terminal that needs to be designed. As with any structural system, the design process requires us to determine the internal forces in the structural members, and then design those members according to the applicable design standards. For each structural member, the important internal forces may include axial force, shear force, and bending moment. We can determine these forces by analyzing the structure under the loads that act on it. But we usually do not analyze the structure under only one loading condition. Some load types can produce multiple load cases. Wind load is a good example. A structure may need to be checked for wind acting from different directions, with different pressure patterns on the roof and walls, and with different internal pressure values in the enclosed areas. So, generally speaking, each wind pattern produces a distinct set of internal forces in the structural members. In addition, design standards require us to consider load combinations. For example, ASCE gives us 5 ways to combine several load types for structural design. So, there are 2 sources for load multiplicity. One source is the number of load patterns associated with a load type, such as wind. The other source is the number of design load combination equations that govern the design. As these are combined, the number of load cases can grow quickly. So we are no longer asking, what is the shear diagram? Or what is the moment diagram? Instead, we are asking, across all the required load cases, which set of shear and moment values should be used for design? That is where the use of shear and moment envelopes could become helpful. In this lecture, we will use a bus terminal structure to demonstrate how shear and moment envelopes are developed for structural member design. Consider a typical frame structure in the bus terminal. Suppose we have determined the wind load cases that affect the design of this frame. These load cases produce different load patterns on the structural members. For a structure like this, we could have hundreds of load cases. However, for the sake of our discussion here, we will limit the number of load cases to 15. Suppose we have analyzed the frame under each load case and have determined the shear and moment equations for each structural member. Our focus is on one of the frame members, this column. We want to construct the shear and moment envelopes for the column. The column has a length of 8 meters. To write the shear and moment equations for it, we use the top of the column as the origin, with x pointing downward. This table shows the shear and moment equations for the column. The table consists of 15 rows with 1 row for each load case. Each row gives the shear and moment equations for the column under that particular load case. For example, for load case 1, the shear is constant, and the bending moment is defined by a linear equation. Let's graph the shear equations on the same plot. This gives us 15 shear diagrams, 1 for each load case. Together, these line segments define a bounded region. The positive shear force in the member does not exceed the upper boundary shown here. Similarly, the negative shear force in the member does not fall below the lower boundary defined by these line segments. Notice that neither the upper boundary nor the lower boundary comes from a single shear equation. Each boundary is a segmented line formed by portions of multiple shear equations. In this example, the upper boundary is formed by the shear equations from load cases 7 and 8. The lower boundary is formed by the shear equations from load cases 2, 14, and 6. We can determine the intersection points that define these boundaries using algebra. To find the transition point on the upper boundary, we set the shear equations for load cases 7 and 8 equal to each other and solve for x. The 2 equations intersect at x equals 2.315 meters. Therefore, we can define the upper boundary as a piecewise function. The first branch is the shear equation from load case 8, and the second branch is the shear equation from load case 7. We can determine the intersection points for the lower boundary in a similar way. Here we have 2 intersection points, one between the shear equations for load cases 2 and 14, and another between the shear equations for load cases 14 and 6. The first intersection point occurs at x equals 3.136 meters. The second occurs at x equals 4.573 meters. Using these transition points, we can write the lower boundary as a piecewise function. The first branch of the function comes from load case 2. The second and third branches are the piecewise shear function from load case 14, and the fourth branch is from load case 6. The region defined by these upper and lower piecewise functions is the shear envelope for the column. The shear envelope tells us the maximum and minimum shear force values along the length of the member. This should not be confused with a shear diagram for a single load case. A shear diagram shows the variation of shear force for one specific loading condition. A shear envelope, on the other hand, shows the range of shear force values produced by all the load cases considered. For design purposes, this could be a useful tool. Instead of checking a large number of shear diagrams one by one, we can use the envelope to identify the governing positive and negative shear strength demands at any location along the column. Now let's construct the moment envelope for the column. Here are the 15 moment equations plotted on the same graph. Together they form the bounded region shown here. 3 moment equations corresponding to load cases 2, 1, and 7 can be used to establish the upper boundary of this region. The lower boundary is defined using 4 moment equations corresponding to load cases 7, 4, 14, and 6. For the upper boundary, we first locate the intersection point between M2 and M1. To do this, we set the 2 moment equations equal to each other and solve for x. The 2 equations intersect at x equals 3.244 meters. The second intersection point is between M1 and M7. Equating the 2 equations and solving for x, we obtain x equals 4.622 meters. Therefore, the upper boundary can be defined as this piecewise function. The first branch is M2. The second branch is M1. And the third branch is M7. For the lower boundary, we need to determine 3 intersection points. The first intersection point occurs at x equals 4.129 meters. This value is obtained by equating M7 and M4 and solving for the valid value of x. The second intersection point occurs at x equals 5.53 meters. This value is obtained by equating M4 and M14. The third intersection point occurs at x equals 6.957 meters. This value is obtained by equating M14 and M6. Therefore, the lower boundary of the moment envelope can also be defined as a piecewise function, like this. Together, the upper and lower boundary functions define the moment envelope for the column. This envelope can be used to identify the maximum and minimum bending moment values that the member may experience under the load cases considered. The value of the envelope becomes most apparent when we move from analysis to design. A moment diagram tells us the bending moment produced by one particular load case. But design is based on the critical demands from many possible load cases, and those demands may not occur under the same loading condition. One load case may control the positive moment near the middle of the member, another may control the negative moment near an end, and another may control the shear demand. The envelope brings these governing values together in one place. For example, in reinforced concrete design, the moment envelope helps us determine where positive and negative reinforcement is needed and how the reinforcement demand varies along the member. In this way, the envelope does something that an individual moment diagram cannot do. It shows the range of design critical demands along the member, regardless of which load case produces them. Check out our canopy analysis and design course for more detailed treatment of envelopes and other related structural design concepts.